stunning looks than swift.
The might of India's top order comes together in what is now finally 50 overs completed in the Super 4 encounter at the Premadasa at what should be half-time of this game. India 356 for just two. KL Rahul and Virat Kohli returning 100 for Rahul, a 47th 100 for Kohli, 13,000 runs for Kohli, a highest ever partnership in the Asia Cup for India. They've padded up their stats, and it's a Pakistan side that was bruised, battered, and simply just waiting for that innings to end. It finally does. 356 is where we look back on some terrific run scoring from Kohli, Rahul, and questions to be asked of Pakistan on how this was very different from the team that we saw at Palikile just a week or so back. At halftime on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricinfo Matchday, powered by JBL. Amol Muzumdar is in studio with me, and we will hear very shortly from Robin Uthappa and Urooj Mumtaz as well. Let me start with you, Amol. 356, is that everything that India could have wanted out of this innings?
It was a sunny day at Colombo, isn't it? Yeah, brilliant. Records tumbling, fastest 13,000 runs, 47 hundreds for Virat Kohli. Couldn't have asked for more. I think more than India, I think Pakistan would be hoping now it's a complete 50-over game, because anything, overs reduced, then they'll have to chase a huge target.
Amol Muzumdar says, Robin, that couldn't have asked for more. Could you?
Well, I like the way how you said they were padding their stats in the introduction. It's so hard to get a compliment off you.
You don't miss a thing. You don't miss a thing, Robin.
Never
do you? Yeah.
I thought they batted exceptionally well. Picked up from where they left off yesterday, and took advantage of the fact that Haris Rauf wasn't available. And just loved the way they batted. Like clinical batsmanship. There's a lot to learn for youngsters out there about batsmanship as to how you get boundaries and then rotate the strike, put pressure on the bowlers. They did that so well. And when KL Rahul's in form, there are very few cricketers who are a sight for the eyes besides him. He's so good to watch, and it's I'm so happy, genuinely happy to see him come back the way he has. To come back after so long, after nursing another freak injury, and to come back like this, it's stuff of dreams.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to come to that KL Rahul innings individually as well as Kohli's innings, but let me go to Urooj Mumtaz as well for an opening comment and put my opening comment in context, like Robbie rightly points out. It seemed like batters could just help themselves to runs with just what we saw in the last 25-26 overs. They could just take runs at will. They made it so easy that I suggested that perhaps they were just padding their stats up. Wasn't I right, Urooj?
I mean, I might be on the other side of the fence, but it was surely a batting masterclass for everyone to admire. Just the way they constructed the innings, and throughout from yesterday, they punished every bad ball. Pakistan, obviously, I think Babar had both his hands tied behind his back when you miss out on Haris Rauf. We've had trouble with fourth, fifth bowling options anyways, but it was top notch, absolutely top notch from India.
All right, let's go innings by innings, shall we? And let's start with KL Rahul. Robbie, I'm sure you're thrilled for him. I think we all are. This was something Indian cricket desperately was hoping happens, that not only does Rahul return, but he hits the ground running with the lack of time before the World Cup. And just from a view of stroke play and taking the innings on at a time when perhaps Kohli was still looking to play his sort of role, how good was that, and what stood out for you?
For me, it's a testimony of the work that's put in over the last couple of months, right? As in, it's not easy to, come back from a surgery, and surgery is just the halfway mark of recovery, and then after that, you got to put in the work, and you can tell just by that innings that the amount of work that is put in. Clearly, he's made practice tougher than a match situation for him to be able to come back the way he has, and you could see KL Rahul at his finesse best today. You could see that he went out there, and even yesterday, he kind of built his innings up. The pull shots were there for the asking. A lot of he's anyway good to spin, but just the way he dealt with the spinners, the way he picked his gaps, his head positions, all of it looked just on point, which is just fantastic to watch. That when KL Rahul's in form, there are very few batters who are more dangerous than him in world cricket. Maybe two of them that come to mind possibly are Virat Kohli and Joe Root perhaps, and Stephen Smith in one-day cricket. But this guy has been amazing to watch today.
Yeah, I guess when you come back from this kind of injury, Amol, you're also a little insecure about your body. That he's played this partnership, 194, a lot of running with Virat Kohli, lots of hard running with Kohli. That would also help. The fact that he looked as fit as a batter at top in your top four needs to look.
Absolutely. I mean, nobody would say this, that he has come back after an injury, after a layoff of 5 months. You know, at times when you have that kind of a freak injury and you come back, you take a little bit of time, you're a little jittery about things, but Rahul looked absolutely in control. The amount of the balls that he hit right in the middle of the bat was something was very noticeable, that not many he missed, he played and missed, or inside edge. Everything hit in the middle of the bat. That was, for me, that really stood out for Rahul.
Yeah.
One best thing for him while coming back into this Indian team was Virat Kohli was at the other end.
Sure.
You know, that partnership developed. They must have spoken about it in the middle. So those are something that really stood out for me. That the amount of balls that he middled.
Yeah, Robin, something to add?
Yeah, absolutely. As in when you look at the fact that even Virat in the previous innings looked like he was a little tentative, and I think the fact that both of them are batting together, I think when they batted together, they kind of figured, they knew, I think individually both felt like, okay, they were up for a score, they needed to get a score. And the kind of criticism that Rahul's come under over the last 5 months or 6 months or 7 months, even before the IPL came about, there's a lot of criticism, and I love the maturity that he showed. He knew that he needs to come and needs to hit the road running, exactly like you called it at the start of this conversation. He needed to hit the road running, and he has hit the road running. And you can tell that there's a little bit of sense of, okay, I understand what's going around me, and I need to do this for myself and for my team. And just that celebration, where there's no shutting the noise out and that sort, just goes to show that, okay, there's growth that's happened individually as well from a very human level, which is great to see.
Yeah, and he also, I guess, Urooj identified almost instantly that he needs to take down Iftikhar to pose a problem in Babar's mind, that period of play in the middle, because Kohli does this. This is how he bats. He bats through and then he'll end up with a score like this. So we know that this is the template for Kohli. The other guy, therefore, needs to identify these sort of situations. So it was an important acceleration in the middle.
Yeah, and like I mentioned earlier, Babar probably didn't have a choice. I feel that it was too early to bring Iftikhar on, considering that the two batters had just come on out. It was a fresh day. You saw Naseem Shah's ball doing just a little bit. I thought it was too early to put down Iftikhar, but Iftikhar with right-handers on strike, I mean, and that was India's chance. Once they got that acceleration in, they took down Shadab. I thought Fahim Ashraf probably was the pick in the end of all the bowlers. He try and held line for as much as possible. But in all honesty, I don't think Babar had much of a choice. But again, I mean, when you bring your quick bowlers in or your main bowlers in to strike the wicket partnership, if it can be broken at that point. But just the way the intent from Rahul was sublime to watch. I mean, he didn't spare anything. And the margin of error on such a good wicket is that tiny. And I think he paid Pakistan bowlers back.
Yeah, very good. Excellent from Rahul to add to even more selection questions. There's a game tomorrow, literally. So good luck to Rahul Dravid, Rohit Sharma and Ajit Agarkar. I think it's the captain and the coach that picks the 11. So yeah, good luck figuring this out tomorrow. Yes, Amol.
I think Shreyas Iyer's back spasm will get over very soon after this.
Yeah, okay. Well,
oh my God.
In all seriousness, see, and you think I'm the one who says things over here. Amol in my company. That's what you get.
I think that's your influence over here.
Yeah, I'm sure.
We're in the studio, Robin.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Amol, it's his influence on you.
Root of all evil is me. Right. Okay. Excellent from Rahul. Right. Deserves a rest if he gets one tomorrow. And you can understand it. This is players don't have this in their hand, and the fact that India are going to play 3 days in a row in Sri Lankan conditions not easy. So that's a huge box ticked. Now let's go to the Kohli innings. 122 of 94, 9 fours, 3 sixes. Robin, just vintage Virat Kohli?
Vintage Virat Kohli. I think just the way he approached his innings, took his time initially, but the minute he felt that he wanted to increase the tempo, he was able to do that. And running between the wickets has been his cheat code ever since he's discovered himself and he's discovered his template to batting. And he used that so well. And it's a testimony of, again, how fit he is and how fit KL Rahul is as well, because he supported a lot of those double calls as well. And just when the moment was right, he upped the ante and put pressure back on these guys. What I love about him, and I think what I've learned a lot from Virat Kohli watching him bat over the years, is every time he gets a boundary, he always gets a single or a double. And that puts omens of pressure on a bowler. And suddenly he's like, okay, how do I bowl a dot ball here? He's not even thinking about getting a wicket. He's already put the bowler on the back foot. And he does that so often. It's like, he knows it like the back of his hand, and so great to watch. It's such a great lesson for anyone who wants to kind of master their skills as far as one-day cricket's concerned.
Yeah, I was listening to him carefully in the Caribbean, Amol, after his 100 in Port of Spain. And I liked what he said himself about where his game is. Says, I may not feel as fluent as I was a few years ago, but I can still run. Even on a bad day when I'm not hitting it as well, I still run. He's at 12 boundaries in innings of 122. Shubman and Rohit have hit 10 in innings of 50s. Something about Kohli that even if you feel like, okay, he's 30 of 50 or he's 40 of 60, the way that he can finish this, it's so admirable, isn't it, at this stage?
Unbelievable, actually. Yeah. I mean, if you just put it in context, that he got 37 singles and 15 twos. So that's 67 runs in ones and twos. That's how important strike rotation is for him. And I agree with Robin when he said that every time he hits a boundary, the next ball is bound to be a single or a two. Just the insatiable hunger for runs, his placements or placement of the ball, even in the last over, he just flicked one towards mid-wicket and square leg, and he hit the gap perfectly. So it just goes to show how he is a modern day great, isn't he? I mean, we are so blessed to have. I mean, I said this before. I think yesterday I said that we are so blessed in India to have somebody like Gavaskar in the 70s and 80s, then Tendulkar coming in the late 80s, 90s, and the 2000s, and now we are watching Virat Kohli, just modern day greats.
And it's how he finishes, 122 of 94, strike rate 130. That's exactly what you want out of your number 3, Urooj?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, summing everything that everybody has just said, to end up with a strike rate of 129 as opposed to outshining KL Rahul, who was magnificent in his own right. And doing that is a testament to his fitness, his character, and just the individual that he is. And just goes to show so far along in his career, already a legend of the game, but the will to do something in the betterment for the team just goes to show what an unmatched legend he is. And I think, again, 122 of 94 with just the 12 boundaries, quite sensational.
Okay, awesome. Everything that the reserve day would have wanted. It's got a Kohli 100, it's got India 356 for 2. Now, let's look at the Pakistan point of view. Urooj, Mumtaz, why did this game seem like it was just going on and Babar was just waiting for it to end? Thoughts on just how Pakistan bowled, how Babar led?
Yeah, I think a culmination of quite a few things. I think it just felt like it was meandering along rather than Pakistan being proactive. It was almost like wishing for either rain or the batters making a mistake. I can understand when you've got two top quality batters at the other end who gave you very little. But I felt lines were a bit off. He provided a lot of width at times, especially to KL Rahul, who's magnificent through the offside. Length as well. So sometimes we were trying to bang the ball in short when it wasn't there for the bowlers. And then Haris Rauf, I think that no matter what, it might just be one bowler who had 5 overs left, but that makes a huge impact. Because it was then Iftikhar who came in, who sort of went, like the Indian batters went almost completely after him, and it does change the momentum. Let's not forget, Shadab again is probably not 100% in form. That's always been an issue already. And then Naseem Shah walking off towards the back end, just as a future point of view, hoping he's okay as well. So I just felt it was one of those where Babar's captaincy, and I said this earlier, he needs to wear that captaincy had a little bit tighter. That's where he comes under a lot of scrutiny. And it was once again where he felt like it was sort of wishing for things to happen rather than trying for stuff to happen.
Robin, anything to add to that? We sympathize with Babar losing his premier strike bowler in Haris Rauf, but anything else they could have done?
Well, I think Babar's captaincy has been an issue for Pakistan in the recent past and has come up for scrutiny quite a few times. And you can see, even when he's got his full strength bowlers, there are times where you wonder if it's caught a begging a little bit. And it's probably something that Pakistan cricket have to figure out as to how they're going to proceed with that. But given his resources today, there was, his hands were tied behind his back. There was not much he could do. He just had to play with what he had. Yeah, you got to empathize with him.
Yeah, it almost felt like today, for the last 25 overs after resumption, that this pitch was even better to bat on, Amol, than yesterday.
I thought so.
Yeah.
The ball was coming on nicely onto the bat. Also, with spinners in play, there was hardly any assistance for the spinners off the pitch. So I guess the game's not over yet.
Yeah.
They still have to bat and get those runs. The top 4 have to click for Pakistan. Hopefully, we'll see a close game.
Yes, Robin.
Well, funnily enough, I actually don't think it's a belter of a wicket. I think there's something there for the bowlers. Honestly, there were certain variations that when Fahim was bowling, there was top spin on that wicket. It seemed like it was stopping. You saw a lot of balls in that last 10 overs where they were trying to up the ante and they missed a few. The slow bounces were holding up on the wicket. I don't think it's the best wicket as far as runs are concerned. As far as batting is concerned, I think it's good. I think India have made the most of it. I think 350 is going to be beyond reach for Pakistan, because I think the Indian fast bowlers, after that batting display, will have their tails up and they'll be gunning to get wickets.
Yeah, it's an interesting point Robin makes, because we saw Fahim Ashraf with certain types of balls, even Shaheen Afridi. Urooj, I guess there is a certain type of bowling. Maybe if Hardik Pandya, it comes to mind, if that may make boundary hitting hard in this kind of stiff run chase.
Yeah, you saw most of the delivery with pace on get hit to the boundary even faster, because it was just with that moisture just skidding onto the bat. But like Robin said, with Fahim Ashraf tried it, there was a little bit of grip as well, a little bit of tennis ball bounce, and it wasn't quite that easy to get away the slow ones bowled into the surface. So that might be something India might go to. Again, when you've got 350 plus on the board, you can get away with a lot. Bumrah coming back will be something that obviously India will want to get right, or hope that he hits the ground running as well. But it is a formidable ask. Pakistan with Fakhar not in form. And for Pakistan, it should be going after the chase to see what they can make best out of it, rather than any other approach possible.
Yeah.
I think if Bumrah can bowl all the 10 overs and we have already ticked a few boxes while batting. As far as bowling is concerned, if Bumrah can get going and get a few wickets, nothing like it. It will be all boxes ticked for Rahul Dravid in the end.
Yeah. Do you see Kuldeep Yadav having an impact on this surface?
Definitely. I think if the ball holds on a little bit under lights, we'll still have to find out how this surface behaves. But I think if it holds on a little bit on the surface, then Ravindra Jadeja and Kuldeep Yadav could be handful.
This is also a nice test for Pakistan, Urooj. We said that they've not idly ticked boxes, but what a great challenge or chance. 357 is a stiff target. Is there anything out of the box they can do? Are we expecting any pinch hitting, any changes, or they just keep it very much what we expect with 1, 2, 3, 4?
Yeah, I don't think they'll change around with the batting order too much. However, I feel that in spite of it being 3-5-6, the only way that you can go for it is trying to make use of that first 10, where India is very strong. Again, we'll have to see how Bumrah comes in, coming back after a long lay as well. But that is the impact game that Pakistan will have to cash in on the first 10 overs. Now, again, it's a bit of a two-edged sword, because Fahim Ashraf, who we've been critical of, was at throwing his hands at everything and rushing into it. It's a game that doesn't allow him any time whatsoever if they have to chase down 3-5-6. But they've got the class of Babar Azam in the middle there. We saw Iftikhar with his pinch hitting as well. But it'll have to be that top 4 making full use of the first 10 and then being proactive up and down the wicket, 2s and 3s in the big outfield. It'll have to be no other way for Pakistan if they have to chase this.
All right, Robin Uthappa, time for a prediction. 357 is a lot of runs. These sort of games go in one of 2 or 3 ways. Are we expecting a close one? Are we expecting India to win this comfortably? How are you expecting the second innings to go, weather notwithstanding?
I'm going to go on a limb and say a 100-run win for India.
Urooj?
India wins by 40.
Oh, 315 is not a bad chase in pursuit of 356. Okay. Amol Muzumdar?
I'll go in between. Pakistan all out 275.
275. All right. That's very good. No one's going for a 357 then. Good.
Raunak, you can.
No chance.
Yeah.
No chance.
You always do.
I need to get home. Okay. Thank you very much to Urooj, Mumtaz, Robin Uthappa and Amol Muzumdar. Tell you what, this game deserves at least a close finish. We were deprived of one in Palikele. It could have been just the most compelling second innings had we had whether or not played spoiled sport. Let's hope we get a good one. Keep an eye out for Bumrah and how he bowls, and of course Haris Rauf and maybe even Naseem Shah, whether they'll be able to contribute even with bat is something to consider. You need all your resources to try and chase 357. The ESPN Cricinfo mobile app will have you covered with whatever the latest is on Naseem's injury right towards the end of that innings, and whether Haris will even come out in support of a batter if the situation requires it. So do download it if you haven't already, and we'll see Amol Muzumdar, Robin Uthappa and Urooj Mumtaz at what promises to be the end of this India-Pakistan game. Join us then for Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricinfo Matchday, powered by JBL.
Stunning looks, then swift.
Make sure you download the ESPN Cricinfo app to stay updated with the very latest from the world of cricket.